What is a wildflower? I've asked this question before, and here's another go at expanding on the answer I gave on another post. So these are all wildflowers. These are all native species that got here without being planted or being nurtured by people. As this is my front garden, by me. And you've got quite a lot of different species here. These little round bits are basically subsoil, because I took out some of these hazel seedlings to go up the coppice, but the deer ate them all, because the deer got in for a very brief period, and they seemed to really go for these. They partly ate them, partly dug them up, or pulled them out. But here you've got a whole variety of different species, including stuff like this, which is Autumn Lady's Tresses orchid. And because I haven't really done much mowing this year, this species is at a disadvantage. If you look down here, it's got a very, very small rosette of leaves. And it doesn't grow very high, that's about the limit. So it gets out competed if the grass sward gets too high, like over on this side. I've mown this once this year, usually mow it several times until mid-July, then I stop. Last year I had 20 spikes of these orchids. This year that might be the only one. It's early days yet, fingers crossed. But I don't think I'm going to get any in here. Right, I'm going to show you a clip in a minute, which I took in a place called, I think it's Johnston, which is near Milford Haven. And it shows some wildflowers, inverted commas, that were seeded by some very nice people on the verge outside their farmhouse, basically to help insects, to provide nectar source, and to give people going backwards and forwards to the school up the road a bit of a lift, because they're extremely beautiful. What I'm going to say in the clip is not supposed to be a criticism of the people who did all the work, and it was a lot of work. They had to rotivate the verge, scatter the seeds, and then for a bit that the rotivator wouldn't touch and the seeds didn't take, they had to do hand digging and then rebroadcast the seeds. So it's not a criticism of them or the reasons why they did it. But when I spoke to them, I found out the seeds had come from Home Bargains in Milford Haven. They were sold as wildflower seeds, but there didn't appear to be any native species in them. So the definition of wildflowers that I use is native species plants, including archaeophytes, and sometimes including naturalised species, which are found in the wild without being sown or nurtured by humans. And the ones that they sowed definitely had been sown and native by humans. So were they wildflowers? Should they be sold as wildflowers? As they're non-native species, and if any of them turn out to be invasive and cause problems in the future, are the people who sell them as wildflowers going to take any responsibility for the possible consequences? Because introducing species does occasionally bring about problems, grave problems. Species which springs to mind is Japanese knotweed, which was introduced deliberately as a garden plant. But it got out and then went crazy. If you've ever been to the Lower Swansea Valley, you'll have seen it. So here's the clip now. See what you think. Right, thought I'd show you these. Aren't they lovely? Let's wait for these cars to go, and then we'll wander over the other side of the road and we'll have a bit of a closer look. Here we go. Aren't they nice? Someone's planted wildflowers on the verge outside their farmhouse. And what a nice show they make. But unfortunately, according to our definition, these aren't wildflowers. They're wildflowers somewhere, and they're planted in the inverted commas wild. But they are planted, and they're the sort of thing that might escape into the British countryside and cause issues. We won't go into those issues now. And amongst them, there's things like this, which is Persicaria, which is a British native, and red campion, which is a British native, and stinging apple, and redwork planting, Yorkshire fog, which are all British natives. But did they come in with a wildflower mix from wherever the wildflower mix came from? Or are they British genotypes, or are they something different? Will it change our native species genotypes? Don't know, it's a question. So, what is a wildflower? Are these wildflowers? They're pretty, they're showy. Someone's been bothered. There's a lot of work in maintaining that. Planting out every year, then probably removing them. And how about these ones up here? Are these wildflowers? Let's go and have a closer look. So these wildflowers? I think I'll leave you to decide. This thing yumps, getting disturbed ground and goes everywhere. I ought to know what it's called, but I can't remember at the moment. And you can see the last big missed one. That's one of them over there. So, what is a wildflower? Are poppies wildflowers? Yeah, pretty much. Nice.